access this session. So welcome this morning to the first in what we hope to be a series of sort of short bite-sized training sessions, just giving us an opportunity to really sort of drill down on various aspects of our service. So we'll make sure that you're advised of what the topics are going to be, and you're, on the emails that we send out, it'll be available on there for you to be able to sign up through. And we'll probably pop something on our charity support site as well, so you'll be able to see future training sessions on there. So, the idea is that it's just a short session. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Sally Swan and I'm Partnerships Manager at Much Loved. And my colleague, Catherine, who's just going to say hello, so hopefully
Hi there. Hi.
Is one of our account managers. So we'll be talking you through today's session. And today's session is very much about understanding tribute pages that are created through our funeral director partners. So I'm going to move on. So some of you may have seen this slide that I presented at the IOF Legacy and InMem marketing session on Monday. So I'm not going to create too much repetition, but I just wanted to cover this as this was the subject that we are sort of talking about this morning. So we work with over 1,000 funeral director branches across the UK, and that's made up with many independent funeral directors, a lot of the regional cooperatives around the UK. In fact, I think we're working with most of them. And also the national co-op are trialling our service at the moment. So we provide them with an integrated funeral notice and donation processing service. So a lot of the funeral directors find it really difficult to find a way to process donations in lieu of flowers. So we offer them a really fantastic solution. So we give them a partner area. So it's a little bit like yours, but the difference between the funeral director partner area and yours is that theirs, they create the tribute pages on behalf of their deceased, rather than, for your situation, your families are coming directly to your website and setting up the tribute pages themselves. So the funeral director sets up these pages. They then, through the widget coding, they display on their website as a funeral notice and give the families and their friends and relatives the opportunity to donate to whichever charity or charities they've chosen to support directly through the link on their website. And also they have the opportunity to hand over the tribute pages to the family so that they can develop them as an ongoing tribute page. Now, I've included some probably what seems like slightly random statistics at the bottom of this slide. And I really just wanted to give you a feeling for how much additional use the tribute pages have created to people over the last few months. And I'm going to try and say it without the key words of the P word or the C word, I have to say. So we've seen an increase in over 63% in candles lit, 200% in virtual gifts, and we launched virtual gifts in March. Huge increase in photos and a massive increase in the amount of donations that we're processing. So I think we've got about 5,000 charities listed on our service. And obviously those additional donations that we're processing are raising funds for you guys. And that creates really fantastic opportunities for you to be able to build up relationships with the families who have chosen to support you through the funeral pages. And Catherine's going to talk you through how to access that information. And also there is the potential, I mean, it's smaller, but there is a potential for you to be able to market to funeral donors where the appropriate permissions have been collected. So I'm just going to share, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to share with you a couple of examples of funeral directors that we work with. So the first one I wanted to show you is Southern Co-op, and this is one of the regional cooperatives, and very confusing. They all have very similar branding. And on their website, they've got a section that says view funerals and tributes. So if we click on that, we can then see a list of funerals that are taking place. Now, the bits that you can see here, this is all information that is coming from underlying tribute pages. So the staff at Southern Co-op have got their Much Loved partner area. And if one of their families wants to fundraise in memory, or in fact, actually, Southern Co-op have a policy to set up a tribute page for pretty much everyone. So they've got a nearly 100% conversion rate. So 100% of the funerals they organise, they set pages up for. So it's something that they feel very kind of dutiful to do, because it enables them to be able to create this lovely page, and it's somewhere the family can then remember them through. So they create the page, and then it displays on their website like this, so as a funeral notice. And if we click through and open one of them, you can see that there's an underlying tribute page for Judith underneath here. And that looks probably very like some of the tribute pages that you've got, but this has got the Southern Cooperative branding. So they've got their chive flower theme, and we can see the charity that the family have chosen to support. And in some cases, there may be 2 or 3 charities that they've chosen to support. And underneath that, we can see the funeral information. And it's this information that's being pulled through to be displayed on Southern Co-op's website. So we can see here. And obviously at the moment, what you'll see is that some of the funerals taking place are private, and some of them are being live streamed. So there's the opportunity for people to log in and view the funeral going on in real time, or maybe also see a recording. And in addition to that, so we can see there's the opportunity for people to be able to make a donation, and also we can click through and view service details, and that just pulls through a little bit more information from that underlying tribute and displays all that information directly on Southern Co-op's website. And again, we can print details of where the funeral's taking place and also make a donation. So that's one of the kind of cooperatives. And I also wanted to take this opportunity just to show you one of our independent funeral director pages, just to kind of give you a real flavour for how it looks and how it works on their service. So if I click on tributes and donations, in a similar way, they're displaying information on all the funerals that they're organising. So we can see the date that it's taking place, and we can click through and view the service details, and that will show us a little bit more information. In this case, it's showing us a picture and then some more information. And here's one of those kind of webcast funerals that's taking place. So that's how we'd be able to view that funeral. And also there's the opportunity to actually view the underlying tribute and also make a donation. So hopefully that's just giving you a little bit of kind of background information about the reasons why funeral directors work with Much Loved, and the reason why you're getting pages set up through our funeral director partners. Now, Catherine's going to take over my screen, and she's going to talk you through the sort of the partner area side of things and how to access that information and give additional stewardship.
Thanks so much, Sally. That's great. So as Sally mentioned, she showed you showing us the tributes and how they can work for the funeral directors, which can be really beneficial. And obviously it also gives the opportunity for funeral directors to give something back to their families, a tribute space for them to remember. What I'm going to show you is where these tributes have been created by others and where they sit within your Much Loved partner area. And just so you know, this is actually a development site that we've created for these modules. We're not showing you some charities' data and information. So anything that sits under this tributes tab here at the top is for our optimum charity partners. So what we're looking at here are your tributes. So these would be the tributes that have been created through your own scheme, and hopefully most of you are quite familiar with this. This green circle here will indicate that the tribute's being created through your website, so through your widgets or your landing page. And then this gold circle with the white dove indicates that the tribute has been created by one of your colleagues. As an optimum partner, you're able to create the tribute on behalf of your supporter and then hand them the ownership. However, also under this tab is what we've been looking at today, which is tributes that are fundraising for you. So if we click in here, this is the area where you'll find all the tributes that have been created by those third parties. So this black circle with the white dove inside, this one here has been set up by a funeral director. And if you hover over it, it'll tell you who the funeral director was. The purple ribbon here indicates that the supporter came directly to Much Loved. They wanted to create a tribute and they've chosen your charity to support. So this is sort of the source and where the tributes have been created. Also, you've got the date and the URL and the information also over here on whether the tribute is private and public and such like. If we go over to the settings over here though, Like within the settings of your tributes, you have a lot of functionality. Within the tributes that are set up by third parties, it's actually limited. So if you see when I hover over it, you're unable to change any of the key sort of personal details, the URL and the title of the tribute. This is because it was created by a funeral director, so it's been created elsewhere, but is supporting yourselves. However, you are able to use things like the customized referencing. So if you're an Optimum partner, you're able to implement maybe your DonorFlex ID, your Razor's Edge information. You can change these titles here and input that information. But also what's really great is that you're able to include other sort of tools and information and content as well. And this has enabled you to still continue to build those partnerships and relationships with those supporters. So you're able to add offline donations. So for example, if you've got cash that's come in from the funeral or somebody sent in some checks, you can manage those donations and click in and add those offline donations. Also, you're able to add regular giving. So say, for example, someone independently sets up a direct debit in memory of somebody and is paying you money. You can have those appear on a monthly basis or weekly basis, or however often they pay you. You can set it up so that those appear as an offline donation and everything is kept in that one place on the tribute page. You can help manage events. So a tribute, say for example, a tribute page has got a fundraising event on it and you've got the supporter there, then you're able to help steward those supporters with their fundraising events. And also what a really lovely stewardship tool is, and what a lot of charities do, is they actually go on and light a virtual candle and leave a message for the supporter. I'm actually just going to show you that so you can see. So obviously this is our development platform, so it still includes our Christmas candle, which is available to yourselves over the Christmas period. But you can choose a candle that you like, maybe a 2-week candle, choose the background color, a short message, you know, who's it from, all of us at, if I can spell, at this charity, whatever you want your message to be, and hopefully you can spell a bit better than me. Thinking of you as you, for example, whatever it is you want to, and sort of personalizing that message. You can actually have the candle, you can pre-light it, so you can have it and choose a date that appears in the future. And then what you do is you add the candle and it appears on the page. And actually, let's just have a quick look at that as well. So you can actually see that for the tribute itself, you've got the information on there, and your message from the charity appears here on the tribute page. So a really lovely stewardship step. Let's go back to the partner area and look at the settings. So if I go back to Tributes Fundraising for You, I mentioned here the icons on the left-hand side. So the black ones with the black circle with the white dove is for the funeral director. The purple ribbon here with the, just the purple ribbon actually, is created for the supporter going directly to Much Loved. And then within your tributes, you've got those icons that are set up through your own scheme. Now, this actually pulls through and is relevant for tribute reports. Now, the reporting is available to our Advantage and our Optimum partners. So if you go to Tribute Report and you choose the date range filter here on the left to filter the tributes that you want to see, so you can use the filters at the top. Here, you'll be able to see that source icon on the left-hand side. So that icon obviously relates to whether it is created through your own partner area, whether it's set up by a funeral director, you know, if the supporters come directly to Much Loved and supporting yourselves. You've got more information here as well, like the URL of the tribute, the date it was created, the tribute guardian information. And I know a lot of charities often say they wish the funeral director would put more information about the tribute guardian, because then they know who to thank. So when you see this email box highlighted green here, it means that you have the information of the tribute guardian. However, the funeral director will often say to the family, do you want to continue and take the tribute forward? And sometimes the family declines that, so they don't always include that information there. There's also the funeral contact here. Now, what's the difference between the funeral contact? I guess not to want to be ageist or anything like that, but an example might be that if, say, somebody in their 90s, husband and wife, one of them dies, and the other partner isn't so tech savvy, they might include a slightly different funeral contact in there. The funeral contact is the next of kin, the person who you are thanking. But quite typically, it is it's not that common that that's put in, and it differs from the tribute guardian themselves. If you scroll down to the bottom, there's a purple plus, which you're able to open up and see the exporting options. So here you have that source code, so where you can tick the box, which will pull the information of where the tribute was created. You're able to also include the customized referencing. So if you've included the donor flex or Razor's Edge or thank you, or if you're soft crediting a certain area, you can pull and tick those boxes as well of what you want to export into a spreadsheet. You've got the Tribute Guardian details and information here, and you can click the boxes that you want to export there. And again, you've got that funeral contact information, and you might want to include the first name, the address and information of the funeral contact, and then any other boxes of information that you want to extract into the spreadsheet. And then down at the bottom, you'll see the green CSV, and you're able to pull that into a spreadsheet. So hopefully that's given you quite a good understanding of how it works, but do also keep in mind that in October or in the autumn sometime, we launched the new training and support site, which is linked from your own partner area. So it's under manage, it's under training and support, and it opens up an area where we've got lots more content, information, short training videos and such like. So I'm going to hand back now to Sally in case there's anything I've forgotten, and hopefully it's kind of given you a good understanding that you do have those tributes that are supporting yourself, set up by third parties, and trying to work out, you know, making sure that you can build those partnerships and steward your supporters in that way.
Thanks, Catherine. So I should say, if anyone's got any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat box. We are nearly done. I think I just wanted to give you, as I said, it is bite-sized, so we just wanted to give you kind of small chunks of information during these sessions. But just to reiterate really that you are getting this information through your service, and if you are an Optimum partner, you have got the possibility to be able to steward those funeral donation supporters by lighting a candle, and always leave a really nice sort of personalised message with that. I often get asked by charities, why can't the candles be automated, or the gifts? And actually, you know, they can't, we haven't got the facility to do that at the moment, but actually one reason not to do it is because it's really nice to be able to leave something that's really personalised, a really personalised message on the tribute page. So, you know, you've got the option of lighting a candle or leaving a gift, and then if the funeral director hands over the page and includes the next of kin information, and we very much encourage them to do that during our training session with the funeral directors, then you have got their postal details. And I don't want you all to reel in horror when I suggest a handwritten letter, because I appreciate that everyone's busy and that is very time consuming, but you know, just think about the effect that that would have on a supporter to receive a handwritten letter as a thank you from a funeral donation. That kind of really could potentially open up lots of future support with that individual. Or maybe if that's not possible, you know, really consider the content in the letter that you send out to them, and maybe including a small gift, seeds, or a key ring, you know, just to really try and make yourself stand out from, you know, other organisations. I mean, particularly as some of these tribute pages or funeral collection pages may be supporting other charities as well. And obviously, if you haven't got the time or the resources to send out a letter, or maybe you've only got the information, you've only got email information, then send an email, but you know, really try to make that information stand out, and send a you know, a really sort of well thought out email, you know, making sure that they also understand where that donation is going and the difference it's making, and making them feel very special. You know, in effect, you've got kind of a couple of opportunities to really engage with these people by lighting candles or leaving gifts, and then communicating them via a letter or thank you, because the tribute pages have been created by the funeral director, so they won't have been presented with a GDPR marketing ask because they've been created by a third party. So you can thank them, but you can't market to them unless they've also made a donation and then they've been presented with your GDPR marketing ask there. And obviously that's dependent on whether they've opted in or not. So I can see that there's a bit of activity in the chat box. So let's have a look to see what questions they've got. So Colin said they're trying to phone supporters now, and that's brilliant. And for some of our charity partners, we do collect phone numbers as well. So depending on how your account is set up, we will collect phone numbers where it's possible. But actually, phoning supporters is fantastic.
Yeah, I can see one here from Sarah. So Sarah's asked, if you light a candle and set the date for some point in the future, is the candle and message visible on the page prior to it being lit, or is it hidden and only visible from the date set? So when you pre-light a candle, nothing appears until the date that you've set. So the candle doesn't appear and the message doesn't appear. So they appear together on the predefined date that you've set.
Okay, and I'm just going to answer Emma's question about the frustration with funeral directors forwarding on checks and not sort of referencing the fact that they've got a tribute page. So with the funeral directors partner area, we do give them a sort of PDF report of all the donations that have been collected, and we try and kind of encourage them to create that report, print it off and send it with the checks, so that our charity partners can very easily see that there is a tribute page as well as offline donations. So we'll carry on kind of banging that drum, and hopefully that message will get through to them.
And we've got another one here from Linda. Do we know when the tribute is ending so we know when to contact and thank? Well, actually, Linda, the tributes don't end. They're a space for people to remember their loved one forever. So actually, you know, quite often the funeral directors will probably finish wanting to add content or adding any offline donations after 6 weeks and maybe not so interested. So actually, these are really nice opportunities where it's been created by a funeral director, and the funeral director is having that interaction with the family. After the 6 weeks or whenever they send the checks in, the tributes don't close down at all. They're there for the families to keep forever. But actually, it's a really nice time for you to kind of pick up from that time period. Maybe when the funeral director has sent in those final checks and final payments, you're able to send that thank you letter and continue to support those your supporters through their journey, and using the tribute page as a tool to facilitate that. See what other questions are coming in.
Vicky's asked if FD pages are actually used after the initial funeral collection. So it depends whether you're asking in terms of donations, but in terms of activity on the page, in terms of people lighting candles and adding photos and music and videos and all of the rest of the functionality that's available to them, I'd say absolutely. Now they are being used more than ever. You know, I haven't got any figures on sort of on it, but you know, we can just see from the numbers that I shared with you earlier about you know, how much of an increase we've seen in the number of candles being lit and photos being left, and that kind of activity. So I'd say yes, absolutely. A lot of the tribute pages that are being created by funeral directors are being used continually after the funeral, and that, you know, they absolutely can become a place to, you know, remember someone. And I think somebody asked me earlier about deleting the pages, and I'm very cautious about deleting any of these tribute pages, because even if somebody hasn't used it for 6 months or a year, you know, who are we to say that they don't want it anymore? You know, something might trigger someone's memory and they might want to come back to the page, you know, a year or 2 years later. So we tend to keep them open unless somebody specifically asks us to delete it, and that usually is the fund holder.
Okay, so Emma's asked, do you think 6 weeks is the best time to follow up and thank? Well, I guess, do you have any information on this, Sally? Do you have I mean, quite often it's sort of bound by when the funeral directors send in the checks and information to you. So quite often it will be, we've found out from partnering with so many funeral directors that actually 6 weeks is quite often their cutoff. Sometimes it's 8. So then they send the information into you, and that is that prompt, obviously, to then thank them. So I guess it really depends a little bit on the funeral director. Sally, have you got any thoughts on this?
Well, I would say if you're an optimum partner and you get that information straight away, that you know that a family have chosen to support you through a funeral collection, I think why not thank them straight away for choosing to support you, at least by maybe kind of placing, you know, using the candle or the gift opportunity to kind of place a message directly on the tribute in the very kind of first instant. Yeah, and then maybe send your follow-up a few weeks later.
Okay, so another question from Julia. Is there a way to find out if funeral directors in our area are partnered with Much Loved? Sally?
Yeah. When you download your report from your partner area, so your tribute report, it will download the source code and it will tell you the name of the funeral director that set up the tribute page. But if you want to get in touch with us and just tell us, whoever your account manager is, then we'll just be able to kind of give you a bit of a potted list. Unfortunately, we haven't got them kind of nicely mapped out. Though one of my colleagues has worked out how to do that, so maybe we would be able to do it in the future, actually, which would be quite snazzy. But yeah, I mean, if you've got a list of funeral directors that you've received donations from before, then you're very welcome to share that list with us, and we can tell you which one of them are partners with us. And we're always very open to sort of joint promotion to funeral directors to get them using our service, and obviously that's to better benefit to yourselves as well.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the map would be really good, because actually it would be really nice for charities to know who their local ones are. Although some of the national charities obviously get fundraising from all over as well. And Chloe's asked, she wishes that more of the local funeral directors offered tribute pages to family, especially during the lockdown, which has obviously been a really fantastic tool for them. So actually, by all means, let them know that they can have there's different partnership packages offered for funeral directors as well, so they can use our functionality and things like that. So if you do have any that you think would be interested, do introduce them to us, or if you ask them for us to, if they are happy to hear from us and you ask them, then by all means let us know and we'll get in touch with them. And hopefully the more that use it, then obviously great for yourselves to be able to, as you say, build and steward and support those sort of supporters.
Emma's asked a good question, actually, and should we be offering the option to transfer the page from the funeral director to the charity owned page? So I think yes, where you've got the opportunity to build up a really nice relationship with the next of kin who have chosen to support you. I mean, if they've kind of started to engage with you, then there is the opportunity for us to change the origination of the page from being the funeral director to being the benefiting charity, and that removes all of the funeral director branding from the tribute page and replaces it with the charity branding, and it moves the tribute from the section in your partner area from tributes fundraising for you to your tributes. So then you in effect get joint ownership of the page, and then you can really facilitate that relationship going forwards.
Leslie's really kindly shared that she considers 10 weeks post sort of passing is a good period to send the next of kin a letter. So thank you for sharing that. It's really nice to get sort of feedback from charities of what they find works for them and sharing this information. So yeah, it's just one of the tips that she's popped in, that sort of 10 weeks seems to work well for them.
And Linda's mentioned that some of the funeral directors in their area use Just Giving, and that might be, so Dignity have got their own sort of funeral notice facility, but they use Just Giving to process their donations, which I know causes a lot of people a lot of hassle. And also there's another company called, weirdly it's escaped from my mind, Funeral, what are they called? It really has, Catherine, what are they called? Funeral Guide. Or it used to be Funeral Zone. They use Just Giving as well. Rachel said, we thank straight away, an email or letter letting them know. We'll thank them for all the donations in around 2 to 3 months. So that's a nice idea. So you've actually kind of given yourself permission to get back in touch with them a little bit later. I mean, I think at the moment, it's really nice to receive a letter, because obviously at the moment everybody is at home, and actually how often do you receive a nice piece of post? I mean, other than like brochures or kind of just rubbish through the post or a bill. I mean, when do we really receive something really nice, a proper kind of nice thank you through the post? It's quite unusual actually these days, or maybe I'm just not very generous. But I think it would sort of stand out.
Actually, it's nice. It's interesting what Emma's saying here as well. We're still receiving postal donations from funeral directors from people who have passed away in September, and she thinks some are experiencing delays in getting admin sorted, understandably. Well, absolutely. We speak to funeral directors. I guess, you know, it's such unprecedented times. I know Sally didn't want to talk about that, but we are in unique circumstances. We know from speaking to funeral directors, they've had to make lots of changes. They're often under a lot of pressure. So yeah, maybe that's what's causing some of the delays. So let's see what else is here.
Andre's asked about regular giving. So the regular giving facility, we are developing the ability for us to be able to collect regular gifts on the service, but that's not in place yet. But for the meantime, you can add it on as an offline regular gift. So your organisation would actually have to collect the monthly donation, but you can keep a record of it on the page. So you set it up once, you fill in a form, you set it up once, and then every month that amount will be automatically added onto the tribute page. And if for whatever reason they cancel or there's a problem with the donation, obviously you can take the details off, because it's all just recorded as offline donations. And there is information about, or we can provide you information about that.
So Alison, should we message once page is opened and state the page remains open for the anniversary of loved one's death, birthdays, Mother's Day, etc.? What do you think, Sally? I mean, the one, you know, I guess once you make that introduction and thank the supporter, then obviously you could include that the page remains open for them. Do you have any thoughts on that, Sally?
Well, it kind of depends on whether that information has been included. So when the tribute page is created, we do ask for the date of birth and the date of death, but it's not compulsory information, so it's totally optional. So in some cases it won't have been included. So where you've got it, then yes, why not add a candle on? And if you're, yeah, I mean, if we collect that information, then you can receive an alert which will tell you when that I think you get 3 days for the occasion.
So Sarah's asked if we were to organise some sort of webinar for our local funeral directors, would much love be able to do a presentation to them if we contacted you. Well, yes, absolutely, we'd love to. That would be really lovely. In fact, it's interesting because some time ago I went to a hospice in East Anglia and they had organised a thank you for their funeral directors. So they invited them in, this is when they could, and said thank you for all the funeral donations. They gave them a tour and showed them all what all the money had gone towards, and gave them a tour of their hospice and everything. And I went along as well and gave a talk on Much Loved and the tribute functionality, and how the charities are able to build those relationships going forward, and how much the tributes have meant to the families as well. So yeah, absolutely, then by all means, any kind of contact like that, we really want to help you and help the funeral directors as well, but also enable people to have these pages that have obviously proven to be so special and a really nice place, especially at the moment when people can't physically go and see somebody, and they're able to facilitate and use the tribute itself. So I'm starting to waffle now.
Debbie's just asked if there's a cost to funeral directors for using the service. There is, and if you get in touch with us, we'll let you know what that is, or we're always open to a little bit of kind of a few deals as well. So just, you know, get in touch and we'll see what we can do.
And there is actually a really basic funeral director partnership that they can have, which isn't very costly at all. And so, you know, as Sally says, do get them to get in touch. We're just reading the next one. Michelle saying, I send an email as soon as I have a notification the tribute fund has been set up, and thank them for setting up, and also confirm if the page has already raised donations, and assure them, let me just scroll down, I'm flying through it too quickly, and assure them where the money will be used, i.e. patient care, and I leave my contact details if they need any additional support, and reiterate that they are under the umbrella of our hospice for any support they may need over the coming weeks and months. Seems to be working regarding stewardship. Actually, that's really lovely. I think what you're saying there, Michelle, is really nice. It's building that relationship with that supporter. It's telling them that you're there for them and offering them additional sort of support at that time when they may well indeed need it.
So I think we've probably come to the end of some of the questions, but I just wanted to say, if anyone's got any subjects that they maybe would like Catherine and I or any of us to cover in the future, then please do let us know. You know, because we've got a program of ideas, but you know, we're really flexible and these are really easy to set up. So either pop them in the chat box now, or feel free to kind of email one of us and let us know. So thank you very much for all coming along. As I said, it was going to be short and bite-sized, but that's the whole idea of them, just so that we can kind of feed sort of little bits of information about the service. Should you need any other support, please do get in touch with your account manager, and also don't forget the charity support site, which is available from your partner area. It sits under the manage tab, and then it just says training and support, and you can click on that and there is loads of information and lots of lovely videos that Catherine and I have done, so you can engross yourselves in those. But yeah, like I said, any other topics you want to cover, then please do let us know. So thanks very much for everyone. Really nice to see you all. I love the wave.